Okay, so what you're seeing right now is a procedural shader that can simulate snow on practically any surface. It's another one of my effects that relies pretty heavily on dynamic paint. One of the uses is it lets me make this base snow mask, which is super useful. It trails along behind the empty as it moves. The other way I'm using dynamic paint in the shader is by lowering the values on the reflectivity map on the base shader. This means the snow is practically wetting the surface below it. And because an empty can't directly interface with the canvas and brush system in dynamic paint, it's actually just a parent object for a hidden icosphere underneath it. Because it's using a parenting system, we can scale up the size of the empty to get a different effect. In this case, I can cover the entire surface with snow. And as you can see, I've added some custom little masks that indent the snow. I've also thought of some other details within the displacement system. Any parts that displace the snow also have a slight ridge around them. And because it's procedural, I can just increase the scale on this Voronoi texture, which will decrease the distance between the little markings in the snow, which might look a bit unrealistic. But if we lower the scale to something like 0.3, the snow looks pretty untouched and natural. Let's take a look at the information we're actually getting directly from Dynamic Paint. Here we can see the interaction in real time. I also tweaked the spreading parameter so that the snow actually covers more area as it melts into water. The spreading speed and other parameters can be found right here in the physics panel. My main workflow involves taking this input and applying a bunch of noise to it. That also lets me create this dynamic displacement system. Here you can see some of the levels of noise that are added with the snow. And this effect isn't achieved using the dynamic paint displacement. This is only done in vector displacement shaders. For me, they're just way more reliable than using the displacement panel. And of course, this affects the base color or diffuse input. And if we add them together, we get this cohesive effect. I've designed it to ease into this frosted snow look as it slowly melts away. And you might be able to recognize the pattern it's using. It's just super high frequency Voronoi set to distance to edge. The new detail and roughness sliders on the Voronoi node are actually really useful for this effect, since you don't just have to crank up the scale. And because this shader simply uses an empty and dynamic paint, I can use it to make some cool snow effects. In this case, I've set the spread to 2.5, and it slowly grows as it originates from the mesh. And yeah, that's about all I wanted to show with this shader. I hope it shows how capable some interactive shaders are, because they can be super fun to make. So now I've simulated water, snow, and molten metal with dynamic paint. And yeah, sorry for the super long upload time. I've been taking a break from YouTube, but I'll probably start uploading more pretty soon.